Good morning, students. How are you? I hope you all are fine and safe at your home. So, students, today we'll begin with the third poem, that is A Tiger in the Zoo. Student, first I'll give you the introduction of the poet. George Leslie Norris, born on 1921, and he was a prize-winning Welsh poet and short story writer. He is considered as most important Welsh writer of the post-war period, and his literary work has won many prizes. His famous works are Finding Gold, The Loud Winder, Phoenix, Living Poet series, Ransom, etc. Now I'll give you the theme of the poem. The poem contrasts the tiger in the zoo with the tiger in its natural habitat. The poem moves from the zoo to the jungle and back again to the zoo. The poet wants to depict the difference between the two environments. Okay, now the introduction of the poem. The poem written by Leslie Norris explains the agony and helplessness of a caged tiger that lived in a zoo. The poet explained what his life could be if he had been a free animal. The poet has tried to explain about the condition of animals that are caged by human beings for their own fun. So student, now I'll begin the detailed explanation of the poem. First stanza. He stalked in his vivid stripe the few steps of his cage on pads of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Stalk means to follow and vivid is bright. So here poet says that the tiger that is confined in the zoo move around in the cage under his bright colored skin. He further says that the tiger can take only few steps because the cage is small and it is not easy to move in it. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet. Okay, so here his feet is compared with velvet. Velvet is a kind of material, cloth material, which is very soft. So his pets were compared to that material, and which is that material? Velvet. One cannot hear his footsteps because he has very soft feet like velvet, because of which there is no sound of the tiger's footsteps. The tiger tries to control his anger by quietly walking in the limited area of his cage. He is angry because he is not free. Alright? Okay, students. Now we will discuss the rhyme scheme of this stanza. So how we find the rhyme scheme? Okay, now look at the last word of first line. It is stripes. Okay, so we'll mark it as A. Now second line, last word is cage. Cage is not rhyming with stripe, so we'll mark it as B. Now third line, last word is quiet. Quiet is rhyming with cage or stripe? No, so we'll mark it as C. Last line, last word, rage. Rage is rhyming with cage, so we'll mark it as B. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, B. Alright? Okay. Now literary device used in this stanza. First is personification. Here the tiger is personified because poet refer him as he. So first is personification. Here tiger is personified as he. Second is metaphor. because direct comparison is there. And what was the comparison? Tiger's paws are compared with velvet, pads of velvet. So this is metaphor. Next is enjambment. Sentence is continuing to the next line without any punctuation mark. So this is enjambment. Alright. We have already discussed enjambment in 9th class also. Okay. Next is imagery. Poet tried to create an image of the tiger. In the very first line, he stalked in his vivid stripe the few steps of his cage. This is imagery. Please student mark it down. How many literary devices we have discussed till now? First is personification, mark it, okay. Second is metaphor. Third is enjambment. Fourth is imagery. Alright. Next is consonance. Consonance. What is consonance? The repetition of consonant sound anywhere in the line. So here the S sound is prominent. Stalk, his, stripe, S sound. So this is consonance. Next is assonance. Assonance. Repetition of vowel sound anywhere in the line. I, in his vivid stripe. In his vivid stripe. I sound is prominent. Alright. Next is oxymoron. Use of adjective opposite in meaning. Quiet, rage. Quiet means calm. Rage means violent, aggressive. So here two opposite words are joined together. So this is again one more poetic device, and this is oxymoron. Student, please note it down in your notebook or note it down in your textbook. Okay, underline it and mark it oxymoron. Okay, next stanza. He should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass, near the water hole where the plum deer pass. Now, the poet says that if the tiger was free, he would have hid himself behind the long grass near the water bodies, so that he could easily catch a deer in order to have it as its food. Basically, the poet wants to say that the actual life of a tiger is to live in jungle, where he could catch his prey and eat it, but the tiger in the cage cannot do so. Alright, now we'll discuss rhyme scheme of the stanza. The rhyme scheme of the stanza is, okay, now last word is shadow, so we'll mark it as A. Okay, second line, last word is grass, they both are not rhyming, so we'll mark it as B. Now third line, last word hole, again all three are not rhyming, so we'll mark it as C. Now last line, last word pass, pass is rhyming with grass, so we'll mark it as B. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, B. Okay, now poetic device used in the stanza. Enjambment. Again the line continue to next line without any punctuation mark, sliding through deer pass till that. So this is enjambment. Next poetic device is, which is used in this stanza, is alliteration. What is alliteration? Repetition of same consonant sound at the beginning of word. Here plum pass. Okay, plum pass, P sound. Alright, so this is alliteration. Again imagery. The poet tried to create an image of tiger's activity lurking in shadow. Lurking means hiding himself. Okay, lurking in shadow. So this is imagery. Alright. Okay, next stanza. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. Now, the poet says that if tiger would have been free, he would have snarled. Snarl means making noise. Okay, warning sound made by him. Okay. He would have snarled around the houses located at the outskirts of the forest. He would terrorize people with his sharp-toothed and claws. This would create fear among the people living in the villages. Alright. What is fangs? Sharp tooth of animal. Okay. And bearing is uncovered. Alright. Now we'll discuss the rhyme scheme of the stanza. Okay. Now first word is houses. So we'll mark it as A. Second word is edge. Edge is not rhyming with houses. We'll mark it as B. Claws. Claws is not rhyming with edge and houses. We'll mark it as C. And village. Village is rhyming with edge. So we'll mark it as B. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, B. Okay. Now poetic device. First is again enjambment. Line continue to next line without punctuation marks. That he should snarling around house at the jungle's edge. Okay. So this is enjambment. Next poetic device used in this stanza is onomatopoeia. What is onomatopoeia? When any word produce sound, that is onomatopoeia. And here the word snarling. Snarling means making warning sound. So this is a poetic device and what we call onomatopoeia. Alright. Next poetic device is, student please note down the spelling of onomatopoeia. O-N-O-M-A-T-O-P-O-E-I-A. I repeat, O-N-O-M-A-T-O-P-O-E-I-A. Okay, please note it down. Next poetic device is assonance. Again, assonance is repetition of consonant sound anywhere in the line. So here O and I sound. Should, around, houses. So O sound, S-H-O, again O, again O. So this is assonance. And I sound, bearing, I, his, I, white, his. So I sound is prominence. So this is assonance. Next is consonance. Use of consonant sound. His, fangs, is, claws, S sound is prominent. Alright. So this is consonants. But he is, next stanza. But he is locked in a concrete cell, his strength behind bars, stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. Now the poet comes to the reality of the tiger that is inside the cage. He says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made up of strong building materials. Concrete means cement, mixture of cement and sand. Okay. So he says that the tiger is confined in a strong cell which is made of strong building materials. He further says that as the tiger is behind bar, so his ferociousness means angerness, okay, is also behind the bars. He just stalks in the cage. He never tried to terrorize the visitors because his power is restricted by the cage. Therefore, he never tried to terrorize the visitor as he cannot attack them because he is not free. He is confined to that jail. Oh, alright, confined to that cell. That is why the condition of tiger is compared here. Now we'll discuss the rhyme scheme of this stanza. First word, cell. Mark it as A. Bars. Mark it as B. Both are not rhyming. Mark it as B. Now cage. Cage is not rhyming. So mark it C. Now visitor. Visitor. Mark it as B because visitor and bars are rhyming. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, B. Alright. Now poetic device used in this stanza. First is personification. Again the tiger is personified because poet refer him as he. Earlier in first stanza also poet referred him as he. He stalks. And now again in this stanza poet referred tiger as he. But he locked in a concrete cell. Alright. So this is personification. Next is assonance. Use of vowel sound. he, locked, concrete, cell. E sound is prominent. So this is assonance. Next poetic device is consonance. Use of consonant sound. His, strength, bar, S sound is prominent. So this is consonance. Next poetic device is alliteration. Repetition of word be behind bars. Alright, so this is alliteration. Next stanza. He heard the last voice at night, the patrolling cars, and he stared with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. The poet says that in the night, the tiger heard the sound of the patrolling car. Patrolling car are the vehicles of police which are used to guard at night. So in the night, the tiger hears the sound of these cars. He then stares at the shining star with his shining eyes. The poet wants to say that the tiger is sad, and as he is confined in the cage, so he cannot do anything. Therefore, he stares at the stars in the night and tries to divert his thought toward them. Okay? Now we'll discuss the rhyme scheme of this stanza. Night will mark it as A. Car will mark it as B. Eyes again will mark it as C. Stars is rhyming with cars, so we'll mark it as B. So the rhyme scheme of this stanza is A, B, C, B. Alright. Now poetic device used in this stanza. Arrangement. Line 3 continues to line 4 without any punctuation mark and stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. So this is arrangement. Next is alliteration. Use of sound H in the starting of two words. He hears. Alright. So this is alliteration. Now assonance. Use of I sound with brilliant. I sound is prominent. So this is assonance. So student, with this we come to an end of this poem. I hope you have understood. It is my request, students, please note down rhyme scheme as well as the poetic device used in the poem in your notebook. Alright? Okay. We'll continue the next chapter in next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless you.